We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Lisa, we have a confirmation of the media?
Yes, sir, they were notified.
Okay, and we do have a quorum. Need a request to approve the agenda.
So moved to approve the agenda as presented.
Need a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Do we not need to,
That's next.
we need to
Yeah.
amend the agenda.
Make a, that's,
I want to make a motion
Okay.
to amend the agenda
you're right.
so that we can have a second portion of executive session for a personnel matter.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any other discussion? If no discussion, all in favor of the amendment to the agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. Is there any further discussion on the agenda?
Mr. Carpenter, I'd like to make a motion to remove the policy ACB regarding educational equity from the agenda tonight.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by raising your right hand.
Can we have a discussion as to why that policy
Yeah, okay,
is
yeah,
being?
discussion, yeah.
Why are you asking for that policy to be removed?
That particular policy is an umbrella policy, which we learned in the last meeting. And I think an umbrella policy just leads to confusion with other policies. And if there are components of that policy, ACB, that need to be incorporated into our other policies, I think we should sit down and incorporate that into those policies versus having an umbrella policy. So that is my reasoning.
Was that Mr. Murray, was that policy, didn't you report to us that that policy was federal, that was a law that we had to adopt?
No, the educational equity policy is just a policy the School Board Association is recommending as a clear statement on the district's stance on educational equity. There is educational equity in our policies, but this is a clear statement that is specific to the issue of equity in our schools. And that's the reason the School Boards Association is recommending that we add this policy to our current policy.
And what's your offense to it?
Like I said, it's an umbrella policy to cover it. It will cover and overlap other policies, and I think that we would be better suited in taking this policy and dissecting it and take the components necessary and intertwine them into the policies that we have in place that they affect. So when someone's looking at our policy, they have everything right there and not having to refer to other pieces.
Is that correct? Or, I mean, can you, because I mean, when we discussed it last month, there was, I mean, there didn't seem to be a problem with it.
My recommendation would certainly be that we add the policy because it does give a clear statement for anybody who's looking for it, rather than having to dig through all the individual policies to try and find pieces of equity statements. This gives us a single place where people can go to and we have a clear statement of what our policy is on educational equity. So that's the purpose of it, is to provide a single policy that gives us a clear statement on educational equity.
But we know what other policies we have. You got overlap. You have certain words, key words in a lot of our policies, and all those would be considered umbrella to me as well. But you do have key words in certain policies in more than just one place. Even when you go to the website, it's like that.
This policy should not interfere with the operation of any of the other existing policies in the current policy manual.
Well, and that's why I had asked if you guys would be willing to have a work session so we could talk about this, so we could dig deeper into this one particular one. But unfortunately, that didn't work out, so. I do think there's more discussion to be had, but that's just my thoughts on it.
So you have a motion and a second. When you complete the discussion, you would vote on whether to approve this amendment to the agenda or not approve it. So if you approve the motion to amend, then ACB would come off of the agenda. I wouldn't present that for second reading. If you don't approve it, then I will present it for second reading, and you would have the opportunity then to either vote to approve or not approve policy ACB, or to not even make a motion to approve it and carry it over to another meeting if that's what you chose to do as a board. So there's lots of options here for how you handle it.
There any further discussion? No? If not, all in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by raising your right hand.
Well, I think you have to ask if
Put on the agenda
As presented, yeah, you back up.
Right. So, all in favor of approving? Let be known by showing, raise your right hand. That's where we are?
And this is approving the amendment.
Right. Okay. I hear it. Okay. 4-3, motion denied. Okay. Next we have welcome and pledge of allegiance.
Now you have to vote to approve the full agenda as
Right.
amended.
Okay. The motion ending the agenda again.
Motion's already been made to approve the agenda,
Right.
and it's been seconded, and you've had discussion. So now you're just, after all that discussion and the amendment, now you're just voting to approve the
Approve the
agenda
agenda.
as amended, and you just need to take the vote
Okay. So all in favor of approving the agenda
as amended.
as amended, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay. Ayes have it, so moved. Next item is the welcome and pledge of allegiance. Let me take the time here to mention our chair, Mr. Robbie Bell, who was hospitalized and had surgery, and I don't have an update for you at this point, but I ask that you would continue to send up your prayers for him and his family, that he may have a good recovery. On a second note, I'd like to welcome Mr. Leon Patterson, James Raw, and Todd Vonner and Dale Vickery for securing a seat on the school board. And let me say to this that this is serious business. Not to say that you're not serious, but it's all about the kids. And I certainly hope that we'll be able to work in that manner to achieve whatever aims we have toward our kids and for our kids. So, coming aboard, I just want to say welcome aboard, and we look forward to working with everyone. Next, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lisa, do we have anyone sign up for public participation?
No, sir.
Okay. Next, we have recognition of trustees.
Excuse me. Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay. Okay, so you just want to go on to the next request for approval? Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the personnel matter.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so move, we will convene to the boardroom for executive session, and upon our completion, we'll return back here. You saying something?
I can't hear you.
Oh, no, I thought you were saying something.
I thought it was gonna be at the end.
No, I thought you were saying something.
No, is this the personnel matter?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what, we've changed it from it being at the end?
To the beginning.
The personnel matter, is at the beginning, and then we'll have executive session again at the end.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know what time it was.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. The amended one, the need to have that one, is after public participation.
would like to take this opportunity to recognize 3 of our trustees. I want to tell you how much I personally appreciate each of you. Serving as a school board trustee requires time, and sincere interest in public education, and a commitment for improving learning for all children. I don't think people really recognize the importance of being a school board trustee, the incredible burden of responsibility that you have on your shoulders to be good stewards of money and creating policy, in particular, that create pathways for all students to be successful. Thank you for your support, for your heart of service, your sincere motives, and your dedication and commitment to Lawrence County School District 55. At this time, please come to the front once your name is called.
Ms. Barbara Beeks currently serves in School Board Seat 3. She began her service in January 2010, completing the unexpired term of then Board Trustee Ms. Lenny Patterson. Ms. Beeks has completed Level 5 in the South Carolina School Boards Association Board Membership Institute. Mrs. Terry Martin currently serves in School Board Seat 1. She began service in April 2003. Mrs. Martin served as Vice Chair of the School Board from February 2013 through November 2018. She has completed Level 5 in the South Carolina School Boards Association Boardmanship Institute. Even though Mr. Robbie Bell could not be with us this evening, we want to recognize his service for School Board Seat 7. He began service in December of 2012. He has served as board chair since January 2019. Mr. Bell has completed Level 5 of the South Carolina School Boards Association Boardmanship Institute. Thank you, trustees, for your faithful service to the district and our community.
I was saying to you, Ms. Wilson, that I achieved Level 6.
I thought so.
Mrs. Martin achieved Level 6
Yes.
in the South Carolina School Boards Association
Yes, I
Boardmanship
did.
Institute.
Yeah.
And she's a quitter.
My apologies for the mistake.
I would like to say thank you again. Thank you so much for your service to Lawrence County
you.
School District 55 and the community. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas, thank you, Lisa, and thank you to Terry and Barbara, and we certainly hope that this won't be the end of your public service.
Oh, I'll come back and bug you.
Okay, do that. You know, but whatever you decide to do, we wish you well, and we hope if we can ever be of any assistance, let us know.
And of course, we always need volunteers in our schools.
Yeah.
Thank you. You went to read for children to children before, you can do it again.
Okay, now I need a request for approval of the minutes for October 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Question? Discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor? Let it be known by raising the right hand. Ayes have it, motion carried. Next, we'll move to the superintendent's report.
Vice Chairman Carpenter and other members of the board, thank you so much for this opportunity to share some Lawrence 55 updates with you this evening. As I've previously reported, the Department of Student Nutrition Services has gone above and beyond to provide meals to young people in our community throughout the situations that we face due to the pandemic. Last week, on November the 17th, Ms. Wanda Knight reported that since the sudden initial shutdown of schools in March, the Lawrence 55 Department of Student Nutrition has provided 1 million meals. They are currently providing 8,000 meals per day. The department serves 9 district schools, the Lawrence Preparatory Academy, and Lawrence County Virtual Academy students, as well as partnering to provide meals for the YMCA, churches, daycares, and youth centers throughout the community. Operating approximately 390 employee hours daily among 75 employees. These staff members have worked throughout the shutdown and various phases of learning to continue to provide nutritious meals to anyone in our community who's 18 years of age or younger. We have received approval to continue this service through June 30th, 2021. During the pandemic closure, approximately $796,000 of food was purchased and fully funded by the USDA. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for all these valuable staff members, for all that they've done and continue to do for our school and community. Governor McMaster announced last week that DHEC and the South Carolina Department of Education would be working with school districts to provide COVID-19 rapid testing kits to school nurses to administer with parent permission. We are currently awaiting additional details. Once we receive more information, we will plan and coordinate with our schools and our families, at which point we will communicate all details to schools, communities, and families. The main reasons for testing in schools would be to keep staff and students in school. If the symptomatic person has a negative test result and does not have other symptoms, they would be allowed to stay at school. It would also allow for a quick response and so that we could minimize the spread. If the person is positive, the school can take quick action to prevent the spread, identify those close contacts, conduct additional cleaning, and begin immediate isolation. It would also increase access for those families who may not have access to the testing or the time. They can give permission for their child to be tested instead of their child having to do the 10 days of isolation, which may not be needed if the child is negative. So those are some of the reasons, and we are awaiting more information. So as soon as we do have that additional information, we will share that as well. And so there is a meeting planned for tomorrow with our nurses to start the process with this. We have received another shipment of plexiglass. We received that last week. So our next phase in is scheduled for Monday, November the 30th, at which time our 7th, 9th, and 10th grade students will transition from a hybrid learning phase to attending 5 days a week. At that point, all in-person students will be back full-time face-to-face for 5 days a week. This will not affect the Lawrence County Virtual Academy students. We are continuing, however, to monitor our community and district data as it relates to COVID-19. We have a district dashboard that is updated each week where you can find information regarding the number of positive cases we have in each school, as well as the number of individuals who are on quarantine. This dashboard can be found on our website, or our district website. And the safety of our students and staff, still a main priority. We will continue with our safety protocols, which would include the requirement for masks, cleaning of high-touched areas, frequent hand washing, hand sanitizer. We have 1 student per seat on the bus, unless they are from the same family. And we also have plexiglass in every classroom for every student. As we've increased the number of students in our buildings, we've had to alter our deep cleaning schedules. So we have some custodial staff coming in early to do deep cleaning, and some that are staying later in the evenings in order to get the deep cleaning accomplished. We're also continuing to use our electrostatic sprayers. And because we do not have students in the building this week, we are doing deep cleaning this week as well.
May I ask a question
Yes,
there?
ma'am.
How are teachers doing in between classes?
Teachers do have a kit that they've been provided with different cleaning supplies.
Yes, ma'am.
So the teachers are being asked to use those kits to clean in between classes.
Kind of
Dr. Thomas, I have a couple of questions too about what you just went over. Once everyone's back 5 days, will teachers still, especially maybe at the high school level or even at grade school level, still live stream their classes for those students that may be quarantined or may be homesick, or will that all shut down once we're back 5 days a week?
We will continue with that. It will depend on whether or not we have one student or whether or not we have a group of students. So we will continue to work with the schools and with the teachers to make sure that we are providing that instruction for them. So it would not just be sending home a packet or assignments for
Right.
10 days.
Okay.
So it will really depend on each situation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions so far? Okay. We're also excited that we are starting the process of offering additional tutoring as part of our intervention plan to provide academic recovery for learning loss that may have occurred as a result of the pandemic. Tutoring will be provided at each school beginning on November the 30th. And this is in addition to our 21st century after-school programs and things that are already in place. We are covering this program through our CARES funding, so it will be free of charge for students. So parents may contact their child's school for information about these services that are provided at their location. The schedules are different. In some situations, we have schools where the students get there really early because they're bus riders. So we're providing some things before school as well as after school. This is being provided for our face-to-face students as well as for our virtual students. It's hard to believe that we're starting the planning process for our preschool registration. The Department of Teaching and Learning is now planning for early childhood school registration for the 2021-2022 school year. Registration dates are planned for January the 12th and the 13th from 8:30 until 2 p.m. On January the 14th, registration is planned for 8:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. and from 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. Parents may visit the school for which their child is zoned in order to complete the registration. In order to register, the child's health department issued birth certificate, immunization records are also required. The child's Medicaid card would also need to be presented if he or she is Medicaid eligible. We are also opening up our registration for our half-day 3-year-olds. As you all may know, this was something that, as a result of the pandemic, we were not able to offer services for our 3-year-olds this year. But we're hopeful that we will be able to offer it for our next school year. So we are going ahead and moving on with the process of the registration. But we'll continue to monitor, we'll look at enrollment, and we'll also look to see where we are as far as any restrictions as it relates to the pandemic to determine whether or not we will be able to move forward. However, we do want to go ahead and get those students registered. Who should register? There should be students who would be attending half-day kindergarten for 3-year-olds. The child must be 3 on or before September 1st, 2021. Students who will be attending whole day or half-day kindergarten for 4-year-olds, and they must be 4 on or before September 1st, 2021. And also those students who will be attending full-day kindergarten for 5-year-olds, and they should be 5 before September 1st, 2021. Students who are currently enrolled and attending District 55 schools will not need to register. But if they are attending District 55 schools for the first time, they will need to complete the registration process. We're also very excited about book vending machines. So we have book vending machines that will soon be in place in all of our elementary schools. These are being implemented as an incentive to help increase student literacy and to encourage the joy of reading. Students are able to earn tokens to use in the machines to select books. And again, these are in all of our elementary schools, so we're in the process, we've gotten them programmed, so we're in the process of filling them with books at this point. Once the book is selected, the student will be able to keep the book. We also are excited about another opportunity as we're continuing to focus on any type of academic recovery and any type of learning loss that may have occurred as a result of the initial shutdown in March, as well as the schedule changes as it relates to COVID-19. Engage South Carolina is a statewide partnership offered by the South Carolina Department of Education to school districts to help assist educators and families disrupted by COVID-19 pandemic by providing outreach, engagement, and enhanced support for students in grades K through 12. So the students that do sign up with this will be assigned an academic coach, and that academic coach will work with them on a weekly basis. So we're very excited about this opportunity. Students that will be eligible will be students in grades K through 12. If they did not engage in the school for in-person or remote education in the spring or this fall, so when we look at those students who have a lot of missing assignments, who didn't show up for the live lessons or live instruction, or they have a lot of absences as well, those students would be eligible to participate. Any students who are in danger of failing one or more classes, also if they are McKinney-Vento eligible or in foster care, so any of our students that are considered homeless would also qualify as well. And then we also have, if the families would just like to request that additional support, if the family would like to request the intervention, would like to request the academic coach, then they are able to go and register their child as well. So our next steps with this, information will be sent home to those families, those students who are invited. We have 644 available slots for students. And then if the parents go and sign on, that will not go against our allocation. So that will be in addition to the 644 slots that we have. So our schools are currently working to help identify the students and families that we want to invite, as well as getting the information out to families if they would like to sign up as well. So we're excited about that opportunity as another layer of intervention.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Sorry, would those academic coaches be in the student's current school, and would they be pulled out during the day? Kind of just briefly, how will that look?
Yeah, so those academic coaches are not Lawrence 55 employees.
Okay.
So this would be a totally different intervention.
Okay.
And so they would work with the student and the parents in the schools to determine a time for that.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Also, we recently had our registration for the Lawrence County Virtual Academy. Our latest data regarding the registration process, and this gave the parents an opportunity to opt in as well as to opt out of the Virtual Academy. We have 840 students who want to remain in the Lawrence County Virtual Academy for second semester. We have 770 students who want to move from the Virtual Academy to face-to-face for second semester. And then we have about 111 students who want to move from face-to-face to the Virtual Academy. That we are in the process of looking to see if we have parents who did not complete the registration form, so we're reaching out to them currently. And we also have a few registration forms that there were some questions about as well, so we're reaching out to those families as well. So There's also a waiting list, so we started the waiting list once we closed that process, and so we have parents who have filled that out as well. So we're still looking at that, looking at scheduling, how that might impact. So it would impact where we would have teachers returning to face-to-face in some instances. And so we're continuing to just go through that. It's a massive scheduling process. So that is the reason why we had to go ahead and have our registration now, so that we can go ahead and get the schedules in place, so that we'll be ready to start once second semester and be able to get the information to the administrators and to the teachers in a timely manner as well. We do have some assessments that are coming up, some assessments that will take place in December. So December the 1st through the 17th, we have map reading and math for grades 1 through 9. We also have Fast Bridge for 5K students that will be taking place during that same time. And December the 8th through the 15th, some benchmark assessments for students in grades 9 through 12. Okay, so this concludes my report as far as the district updates. Are there any questions?
I did have one other question. Have we been able to supply the schools back with additional cleaning supplies as they have run out, whether it be in the class, individual classrooms or whatnot?
Yes, we
Have
do
we
have that
managed to keep up with
available.
that?
So the administrators are aware that if they need additional supplies, then they are to contact the district, and we will definitely give that to them.
Thank you.
Okay, would you like for me to move to the next item, Mr.
Yes,
Carpenter?
yes,
Okay.
please.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank all employees of Lawrence 55 for all they do each day to meet the needs of our students to the best of their abilities in a situation that is beyond their control. This year is unlike any other year that we've experienced. I'm thankful to the staff for their hard work during these unprecedented times. These things continue to evolve, and our staff have had to make constant changes and adjustments throughout this process. I would like to take this opportunity to make a recommendation to the board for an appreciation bonus for all employees in the amount of $600. This bonus will serve as another effort to show every employee just how much we appreciate all they do. If approved, these funds would be given on December the 4th.
So do we need a motion? Okay, we need a motion to approve the request for appreciation bonus.
So move, Mr. Chairman, that we give each employee an appreciation bonus in the amount of $600.
Is there a
Second. Everybody want a
Any
second?
discussion?
Pardon me,
Right,
who made
vote.
the second?
Everybody know.
Bunch of us.
All in favor, let it be known as the right hand. Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much for your approval.
Well deserved.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Needed.
We should.
Okay, next we have Mr. Jody Penman.
Yes. I'd like to ask Dr. Jody Penland to present information regarding the calendar for the 2021-2022 school year.
At your place. Good evening. At your place, at your seat, we put a copy of the calendar just so it's a little bit easier to see versus the copy that was in your packet, but it is the same calendar that was included in your packet. A couple of things about the calendar that we do each year. We work with Lawrence 56 to come up with a combined calendar so that we have one countywide calendar for our school systems. In your packet, we also included a survey that we conducted this year because we typically get together with both districts, then send a representative back to each school to get feedback, and then we come back again to kind of provide that feedback together. They submitted the same survey to their teachers, and their staff, and only thing that you have is our results from Lawrence 56. But you could see many different things that we asked about when they would prefer starting school, when do they want to get out of school, do they like the 3 days at Thanksgiving, do they like the 2 full weeks, you know, that kind of thing. So we asked many different components about the calendar there. So whenever you're looking at a calendar and you're setting up the school calendar, there's some legal things that you have to include. You have to include 10, we call them yellow days. That's the teacher work days, teacher staff development days. So by law, we have to have 10 days in there, and then you have to have 180 student days. With the 180 student days, you're allowed 3 half days where you can get out 3.5 hours early. And I'll talk about where we put those. And then you have to not start school until at least the 3rd Monday in August. So you cannot start before the 3rd Monday in August. So looking at all the feedback that we received, once we worked within our district, got the survey back, I met with a team of representatives from each school, and we decided on this calendar, along with Clennon, to present to you tonight. So you do see that the teacher first day would be the second Tuesday in August, August 10th. Then we'd start with a 4-day school day, 4-day school week. A lot of teachers have requested that we not start with a 5-day full week. It's just hard on kids, hard on teachers, very exhausting week 1. You will notice in here that we do not have the 3 makeup days included that we have typically included. Since we have been approved as an e-learning district, we can now do all of our makeup days via e-learning. And so since we have shown that we have the capability technology-wise, and every student is a 1-to-1, we're approved to be an e-learning district. This thing's hard to breathe and talk to.
I know.
I'm losing my breath. Alrighty, so.
And your glasses are probably.
Yeah, and my glasses are fogging up.
Mine too.
So, we do, by now that we are an e-learning district, have to have 2 practice days. Just like we're running today and tomorrow as e-learning practice days. Those were supposed to be built in the first 45 days of school, but we got approval to move those with y'all's approval earlier in the year. That's why it's not within the first 9 weeks this year. But next year we did put those tied to a weekend in September. We did build back in the parent-teacher conference days, which would be the October 21st, 22nd. We left the 3 days at Thanksgiving and the 2 full weeks, Christmas and winter break. You will see the light green days in the first semester. Those are 2 of the half days that we're allowed 3 of. Put 1 the half day at parent-teacher conference, and 1 of those the last day before winter break. Whenever you go to the spring semester, and this calendar does allow for the end of the first semester to be before Christmas break. Okay, so the semester will end December 17th. And so whenever you're looking at spring semester, we built in a couple of professional development days. You may ask why spring break is so late. The request was that was tied to the Easter weekend. Good Friday for that year is actually the 15th, with Easter being on the 17th. So that's why spring break looks a little bit weak later, not tied to masters, as some people have requested. And then the orange outline in May, the last 20 days of school, allows for state testing, and that puts the last student day, May 27th, with 1 teacher day afterwards. So any questions about our proposed calendar?
When is Labor Day on here?
Labor Day will be September the 6th.
Okay, oh, I see it now in red. Thanks.
I'm impressed that it's at the end of May 31st.
That's very good.
This is a
I
great
think
calendar.
it is.
I do have one
Perfect.
request, and it not just for me, but I've just heard so many, just the past week, so many people saying how grateful they were that the e-learning days were today and tomorrow.
I've heard that.
So is there any way that we can move those 2 e-learning days and do it again, the Monday and Tuesday, Thanksgiving next year?
I would have to ask the state for approval for that. I did not ask before that meeting for that because it would be outside the first 45 days of school.
Okay.
So the 45th day on this calendar is October the 19th.
Right.
So by their kind of recommendation, falls within before October that 19th. That's what that would call that for. So,
I think that would be worth exploring. I mean, if Dr. Thomas.
We could
was
definitely
on
check into
board
that to
with
see
it.
if it's a
Yeah.
possibility.
yeah,
There's very few things that you get teachers, students, and parents agreeing on. and
exactly, right.
This Monday and Tuesday happen to be one of them, so.
Right. So, I mean, that is something that we could consider and bring back to you as an amended calendar if we got that approved. I know
Okay.
Clinton is also taking their calendar, their board tonight also.
Okay.
They actually did not do their e-learning days, these 2 days. They kept them earlier in the semester, I mean, this past year, or this year.
That's the only change I
looks
would
good.
be interested in seeing.
Any question?
Do you need
Ms. Smith?
approval now before you can go back and have those discussions?
The only thing that I hate not approving a calendar right now for is that we don't put a calendar out to parents until the end of January.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because that would then put them 2 more months planning their summer break.
Sure.
Because so many people are already calling me saying they're wanting to know when vacation will be, so.
You know, I'm usually one of those people.
So, I mean, if that's something that you would like me to go back and explore and ask for permission from the state, I can do that, and we can bring back in a revised calendar to move the e-learning days.
Okay.
But I think for the community, it would be nice to go ahead and give them at least
Sure, absolutely.
it'll just need board approval.
You say you need approval?
I make a motion to approve the proposed 2021-2022 district academic calendar.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly second moved. Any questions? No question. All in favor, let it be known by saying right hand. Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Finley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have board operation by Mr. Ed Murray.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Dr. Thomas, board members. We are here for second reading of the 10 policies that we presented in October for first reading. And I provided you with several different ways that we can approach this. You could approve all 10 policies. If there are no changes to them that you want to make, you could approve all 10 policies at one time with a single motion. Or we could go through the policies one at a time and go through the process of making motions, seconds, discussion, and voting on each individual policy. Option 3, amendments made, just goes through the process of what we would do in that case. And option 4, if there's a policy you don't want to act on, you would simply just not make a motion to approve that particular policy if there's one that you did not want to act on, and we would simply bring that back for a third reading in January. So the policies that we have for consideration tonight: policy ACB on educational equity, policy ACE on service animals, public service animals, policy EBC on emergency planning, policy GBAA on sexual harassment and retaliation, policy GBGAA on service animals for staff, policy GBGAB on lactation accommodations for staff, policy GCOA on the evaluation of instructional staff, particularly pertaining to teachers who are still in their induction phase that are coming from outside the district. Policy IMG, which deals with animals as well, but this one deals with animals in the classroom. And policy JIAA, sexual harassment and retaliation pertaining to students. And policy JLCDD on service animals for students. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have about any one of those policies or collection of policies. I'd be happy to provide any recommendations on how you might proceed if you need any help with that. We could bunch policies together, we could do them all at one time, we could do them one at a time. Or we could do them not at all.
Well, in the interest of time, if no one wants to pull out an individual policy, we can go ahead and do them all the time if that's in favor of everybody.
Well, I would like to make a motion to pull out policy ACB on educational equity for the same reasons that I stated earlier, and move forward with a motion to approve all other policies as is.
You say ACB, and you want that discussed tonight, a later date?
I made the motion to pull out that policy and move it to January and approve all other policies as is.
If I may help here just a little bit, what you would do is simply make the motion to approve policies ACE, EBC, GBAA, GBGAA, GBGAB, GCOA, IMG, JIAA, and JLCDD as presented, which is excluding policy ACB.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policies ACE, EBC, GBAA, GBGAA, GBGAB, GCOA, IMG, JIAA, and JLCDD as presented.
Okay, motion been made, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved, properly second, in discussion.
How do we add the other one back in?
You can deal with that one separately. So
Okay.
after this one is voted on, after this motion is voted on, you could make a motion to approve policy ACB.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the motion has been carried in second. All in favor, let me know with right hand. Ayes have it, motion carried.
So I make a motion to approve policy ACB as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion been made, properly second. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor, let me know raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're saying that kills that there won't be no discussion in January for that particular motion?
No, you've approved all 10 policies now.
Okay,
You did one separately from the other 9, but they're all approved now.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next we have finance operation, Mr. Jim Lawless.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our balance with the treasurer as of October 31st was $4,310,237. Our revenues for the period ending October 31st, 2019 were $10,188,163, with expenditures during the same time period of $11,907,050 for a difference of $1,718,887. Our total tax collections for the month of October were $707,511. Now that is kind of ahead of where we were at this point last year in terms of our outflows outpacing our inflows by about $1 million, and we're kind of at this point we've grown that some. In September we had it was $726,000 difference. So we're continuing to kind of outperform the general fund. I don't expect that to continue necessarily, but that is where we are at this time. In the prior months, Ms. Martin, you had a question about the difference in the balance with the treasurer year over year. We have been receiving some more reimbursements out of the coronavirus funding, and So you'll notice that at this point, we're about $1.6 million less on hand than we had at the treasurer at this time last year. In September, that difference was $2.7 million, so we've picked some of that back up. Does anyone have any questions about the general fund report?
Mr. Laws, tell me about the fee in lieu for the state, and then also merchandise inventory for the state.
Well, the fee in lieu is not actually state. I wish it didn't say that on there. I need to take that off. That's county revenues, and I guess that was a refund. You know, this district has zero say in how much money we collect out of fee in lieu. We are at the mercy of the county.
Okay.
It was a negative on our report from the county, so I'm assuming that they had refunded something from the prior year for $12,342. And the merchandise inventory that is state funding that passes through. It's relatively small in the grand scheme of our funding, and we just, when the county receives it, they pass it along to the districts. So, that's probably just a timing difference there. One thing I would note is that this is the first time this year that our tax collections have been significantly different from the prior year that we're down, and that's something to keep an eye on, because so far during the pandemic, Lawrence County tax collections have remained stable. From what I was hearing from the treasurer, they anticipated that going forward. So I'm hoping that we're just looking at a timing difference, but we really will know more, I guess, when we reach the end of November. But that is something to keep an eye on, our local tax revenues.
Thank you.
All right, the other item that I have today is to submit 2 candidates for the lead corporation board. The bylaws of the lead corporation state that the number of directors of the corporation shall be not less than 3, nor more than 11. With the recent passing of Mr. King Dixon, who had served on the lead board since its creation, the board currently has 3 members. It was determined that the board should add 2 additional members to minimize the possibility that the board would fall out of compliance with its bylaws. Their board put forth 2 nominees for approval by the Lawrence District 55 Board of Trustees. Those candidates are Ms. Patsy Casey of the Enoree and Ora community and Mr. Ernie Seegers of Lawrence. I've spoken with both of those candidates, and both have agreed to serve in that capacity if approved, and that would require board action.
Okay, you've heard the nomination for the lead board. Do I hear a motion?
So moved to approve Ms. Patsy Casey and Mr. Ernie Seegers as on the lead board of directors for Lawrence 55.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, motion been made properly. Second, and question? Ready to vote? All in favor, let it be known by raising the right hand. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Now I need a request to re-enter executive session for the conversation of the superintendent's evaluation.
So moved to enter into executive session to discuss superintendent's evaluation.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in question? All in favor, let it say right hand. Ayes have it. We are reconvened after executive session right back here in open session. Thank you very much. Okay, we are back in open session. What we did, we discussed the superintendent evaluation, and we gave her an overall rating of excellent. We thank her for her service, we thank her for her hard work. We commend her for her hard work. There's no board action required. And with that, request for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. All in favor? Say no more, sir. Ayes have it. So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a safe